Hello, welcome to Directly to You. It's episode 246 of our Nintendo podcast. We're Redirect. I'm AJ of Redirect. I'm joined by Parker. He's also of Redirect. Summer Games Fest, man. It happened. It happened, and I mean, it's happening currently at the time of recording this, technically. But the like event that is called Summer Game Fest happened today. That stream happened, and I want to do the like little opening, like before the intro bit, on just generally the show. More so to I guess catch you up before we go through the Switch announcements. I'm not going to talk about all this stuff because most of what I want to talk about is, for whatever reason, there's like a subgenre of presentations for like non-Nintendo presentations that are like this one. It's like Xbox does these presentations, Ubisoft does these presentations, sometimes EA does the presentations, and they are always too long, and they always feel too long. And I don't think, I mean, it might be part of it, but I don't think it's because of what they are announcing that makes it feel that way. Or even if whether or not I care about whatever they're announcing, or it just feels like the amount of time spent on everything is too long. Like,
I mean, taking as an example from like having watched Xbox showcases before, where they're like, well, let's show some gameplay, and now let's show this, and now let's talk to the devs, and now let's do, and it's like 4 different segments on each game. That by contrast to an indie world where every other game does have a little developer, like the developers are sharing about this game and that game, but they like therefore cut out a different segment. Like most of the games get a little visual like teaser trailer kind of thing, and then the announcer being like, in this game you do this thing and you're a kitty cat, but you aren't the best kitty cat, or whatever, you know. And then in the developer ones, they say, okay, it's just going to be the developers talking about it now, to like keep it consistent and concise. But like double dipping, triple dipping, quadruple dipping on like
the above,
all of them
in these presentations. Like the thing that like had me like, oh, this is going to be a long presentation, is they announced Nicolas Cage is in Dead by Daylight. He is a glorified skin in the video game. He's not even like a monster, you know, so it's not like a game mechanic or anything like that. He's just a dude that has voice lines and animations. That's it. That segment was like almost 10 minutes long, or at least it felt like it was. I'm like, bro, how come we can't just be like, Nick Cage is in the game, moving on? They gotta bring him out on stage to be like, yeah, man, it's the first time I've ever been in a video game. I'm being more video games. I think I love video games, and here's why I like video games. And I made sure to make that a thing in my performance, and like it's just this whole thing. It's like, dude,
oh no,
are enough people still playing this game for that for this to warrant this much explanation? But other than that, like, there are a decent amount of announcements, at least to me, and we'll get to some of them, that I was like, oh yeah, I'll play that. But there's also a lot of announcements that I'm like, all right, I don't care about that. And again, part of that is like personal preference. Like Mortal Kombat, I tweeted that Mortal Kombat was on the screen. They like said that, yo, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat, and I said, all right, bet, this is my time to go get food. And I went downstairs, I made food, I came back upstairs, they were still talking about Mortal Kombat. What? Like, bro, it's insane. But anyway, speaking of talking,
I mean, you know,
you still got more.
Last thought,
more
like,
to say.
Nintendo Directs, for example, too. You know, like you'll have the one RPG that we go on way too long about in the middle, and that's about it. You know, outside of that, doing that for everything is just too much. It's way too. But you know what's not too much is doing the intro. Do the intro.
You support this channel by going to youtube.com/wiseredirect or twitch.com.tv. Does twitch.com work? Twitch.tv/wiseredirect and give them $4.99. It'd be your money. It could be Jeff Bezos' money if you have an Amazon Prime account. You can link it to your Twitch account. You get a free subscription every month. All you got to do is remember to renew it. at twitch.tv/watchredirect.
Or twitch.com. Apparently, I just tried it and it works. So
it works. Nice. In exchange for that, you get loyalty badges, you get emotes, you get free Switch keys without time, you get access to supporters only Discord, you get access to this show, which is in the supporters only Discord. You can be in the peanut gallery and talk about stuff while we talk about stuff, and we talk about you talking about stuff as you talk about us talking about stuff. You know, check out our Patreon and see all the other stuff that you can get, like merch. I gotta order us the merch. But I think I can do that. Anyways, do all that stuff. But anyway, we're talking about Summer Games Fest, Nintendo Switch games that were there because, hey, if you're a Nintendo fan, maybe you didn't watch it because, like, it's not a Nintendo thing. Nintendo doesn't publicly say that they're taking part in this situation, but there's Switch games there. So we're going to talk about them.
It's true.
Courtesy of Nintendo Life. They did all the curation, so we didn't have to.
Yep. Yeah, so, okay, looking at it. So you actually watched it. I didn't. And so here we are. But I've watched, I mean, just little bits and pieces of some of these the trailers. First one is Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, which, Ubisoft, Prince of Persia game. But it's like is it all side-scrolling? I haven't gotten far enough in the trailer to see, but I'm guessing that it is.
I think so.
Okay. Honestly, looking at it, looks pretty good for, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, just first impressions of it is it seems like action-wise and, like, interesting combat kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. I can't remember. Is it a roguelike? No. It's like a
platformer. It's like a platformer action game, beat 'em up kind of deal.
But seems like it does a good job of, like, in the same way that Metroid Dread is a 2D thing, but then also leverages the fact that, you know, it's 3D environments just that you're looking at side on and does little, like, zoom ins in a 3D kind of context and stuff like that and cutscenes and whatnot. Like, it seems like it's doing a good job with that kind of stuff to make it feel more cinematic and whatever. And that's something that's sometimes hard to do, I think, in 2D. And I was worried about, you know, 2D Metroid to be able to do that before Metroid Dread happened. And then it succeeded in flying colors at doing it.
I was going to say, what do you think? This trailer kind of gives me the same vibes as, like, Metroid Dread, where like I don't know how well it's going to translate to the full game, but this feels like that, where, like, it's a 2D game, but they still did a decent job at, like, making it feel epic while also not, like, sacrificing the vibe of, like, them making a 2D game, you know? Like, it's not a game that feels like it should be 3D because of everything else around it. But still it feels like a, like, high budget, like, cinematic thing, you know?
Yep. And it feels like in some ways, you know, there's when you're thinking of, like, fighting games, for example, like 3D arena fighters can't do as much as a 2D fighter because you have to make up for the, you know, third axis and stuff like that. It looks like action wise, it's doing some things that I'm sure, I mean, you could do in 3D, but you can kind of, like, simplify and do more efficiently in 2D, I guess, if that makes sense.
What do you mean, like, visually?
Like, I don't know, just, like, movement kinds of stuff. And I don't know, some of the boss fights, you know, like, boss fights in Hollow Knight are really good, or boss fights in, like, various other 2D games. So, again, there's plenty of good 3D boss fights as well, obviously. But it just feels like very fast paced and stuff in a way where, like, some of the better 3D boss fights aren't as fast paced.
Yeah, a lot of them don't really have, like, the confidence to do something like that because it's, like, more complicated, obviously, to make a like high octane 3D boss fight versus a 2D one. So yeah, I would say that checks out. But this game, looks still does it.
It does, yeah. Is this? I want to say I got the vibe somewhere that this is from the same team there as like Immortals Phoenix Rising and stuff. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, I don't think it says, and they don't really have a write-up on it here. They might have, they have one that they have related articles, so it might be in that.
I'll take a look.
If you want to look at that. But I don't know. Like, I feel like the Ubisoft thing kind of has like Nintendo EPD vibes, where like a lot of their games are like all hands on deck, but like parts of every team. So like parts of every team do a little bit of everything on everything.
Yep, that makes sense. Here's the little summary real quick for it, and I like how it starts out. Inspired by the Metroidvania structure, nice. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown lets players explore a handcrafted world at their own pace. From the majestic citadel of knowledge to the colorful landscapes of blah 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 blah, various things, various people, things and stuff, and more just like kind of story things. So. But the most thing
Ubisoft
for me is the Metroidvania
studio.
Seems like it. Yeah, it doesn't specifically say either. So, cool. Yeah. All right.
I'm down for this one. We want to do a. We usually do this when we break down directs and stuff like that. Like a count of like, I'm interested. I'm going to get this game.
Yeah, I think this one. I mean, I imagine it comes out price $60 game.
Don't know how much it costs, but it comes out January 18th next year. That's all I know.
I'm gonna like price. Yeah, I mean, I think in theory, interested for sure. So there it is.
There it is. The next game. I already talked about this a little bit. I don't care. It's Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 1. They don't have a trailer here.
It said the trailer's age gated, so check it out here in the link. So it's not.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, good call.
But it's Mortal Kombat. There's people being brutalized on the screen. The fighting game.
It's true. You can see more spines than you've ever envisioned in your life. More spines than I don't know, and then insert some like funny joke. Insert one of those. More spines than that.
I don't think Mortal Kombat deserves funny jokes. The new thing about this, or new question mark, they did it before, kind of. I think probably. I don't know. I don't care about this series. It's a cameo system, which is basically like Dragon Ball Fighters, but like not switching to another fighter, but calling another fighter, be like, yo, I need you to be here so you can extend my combo. That's the thing for this game. And they use old school versions of the characters that are in the video game. And some of them are
so is it kind of like an everyone is here sort of thing?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but no. It's more like a Sonic Generations kind of situation,
or like Fire Emblem Engage kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it's like but also with the context of like we're blowing everything up so we can, because everything's a mess. So we need to like make everything lean, but in the process, we're gonna call back to the mess that we made by bringing all the characters and stuff, and it's bloody and Nintendo, but it's on Nintendo, so can't really say that anymore. Anyways, Mortal Kombat comes out September. I won't be playing it. Will you?
No. Nope. Yeah. I just feel bad for. I remember when Mortal Kombat 11, I guess, was coming out, and there were interviews with developers about like just them having, I mean, like literal PTSD from having to watch actual videos of gore things to be able to simulate them realistically and stuff like that. And it's like, man, that kind of sucks.
It's like, that's just a lot. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. Like, I have no problem with like gore being in things when it makes sense. You know, like we talked about it before. I freaking loved Invincible, and The Boys is dope.
Yeah. Right.
But it's those things, even those things, despite the fact that they're partially like marketed as if they're gory for gory's sake. They're very not, you know, like the tone is justified by the creative aspects of everything around the gore. Mortal Kombat is gory because that is a selling point for them. There's nothing about the game itself that justifies the need. And that's kind of like off-putting for me personally. And I mean, that's kind of a bummer because I do like fighting games. There's a fighting game year happening this year, and even fighting games that I don't usually play, I'm down. But Mortal Kombat, I'm still not here for it. Like, I don't usually buy Tekken. I think the last Tekken game I bought Tekken on the Wii U because it was one of the launch titles, and I bought all the launch titles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For Wii U. Yeah, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Nice. I bought, before that, I didn't buy, but I got for Christmas at some point, Tekken 4. That's the last Tekken game that I owned. Nice. That wasn't the Wii U one. And I didn't play either of those because, like, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on the Wii U was still pre me being like, oh, like, I always liked fighting games, but I like fighting games now. You know what I mean? Like, I care about being good at these. So this will be my first one post that realization. I don't know how long I'll stick with it because I don't know if there's a character in the game that I care about, like Kimberly and Street Fighter, which we'll get to at the end of the show. But like, I think that even though I might not play it as often as I am right now, I'll probably play Street Fighter 6 for the duration of its existence because I care about the characters in the game, or a character more specifically. Tekken, unless there is a character that I care about in that same way, I'll play for, like, you know, a month or two at the very least, just because, like, just to figure it out how it works, try to get decent, and then maybe fall off. Mortal Kombat, it's not doing enough to convince me to get it. But if you're getting it, cool. Good for you.
I think my impression of, Tekken probably is the fighting series that I've played the most of outside of Smash, which means I've played it for probably a total of 15 hours between friends' houses here and there. So, like, not a lot. But I feel like a thing that it, at least in the past, had going for it was it felt like to me, the most, like, casual friendly that wasn't Smash in some ways, where just having all the, like, zany characters kind of feels more approachable in some ways than, like, here's just a bunch of buff humans and one demon guy, or kind of a thing.
There's a lot of buff humans and demon guys.
I mean, yes,
for what it's worth. But there's also bears and dinosaurs
and kangaroos and stuff. Like, it feels like the Cruise and Blast equivalent, where it's like you can drive a unicorn. like, all right, cool. I guess. But yeah, it's. So yeah, that's one. If it came to Switch, that would probably be the only fighting game series, other than Smash, that I'd like maybe pick up and just play for a little bit. That said, though, Street Fighter 6, like, if that was, I still probably wouldn't. If you had it on Switch and I could download it from your account, I'd probably play a little bit of it from the.
I mean, there's a lot of single player stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
there's a lot
exactly.
of single player stuff in Street
so
Fighter,
it's pretty cool. Not that I have time for it right now, because, like, there's a game that exists. In any case,
tangents aside,
yes.
The next game question.
We also talked about This wasn't even the first time this was announced. Like,
it's not.
Literally, Mitch and I were talking about this. Like, what? Not, I mean, specifically, like Nicolas Cage. We've known about that for like. So. I mean, I don't know how long, but like we were hanging out with. I was hanging out with Mitch just less than a week ago, and he was like, "Did you know Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight?" And I was like, "That's goofy and silly," and we talked about it for a little bit. So yeah, this isn't like the first time it's not brand new information, and yet 10 minutes long or however long, I don't know, they talked about it. Like you said,
they talked about it so long.
Crazy.
They could have just showed this. They could have literally just showed this trailer, and it would have been like, sick, Nick Cage of the game. You know? But the way that they talked about it, at least for me, I don't know anybody that was popping off for that whole thing. I don't know anybody that is like, yes, Nick Cage. You know, it's like, it's like, all right, bro. But yeah, that's coming there. That game's on Switch, so if you're down, cool. This announcement, Sonic Superstars, I'm very down for. I am super down for this.
Tell me about it. What's the? Oh, okay. I'm watching the trailer, and he's like pixely, and then he's not pixely anymore. Look at him go. He's cute and fun. All right, what do we know about it?
So this is like basically new Super Mario Bros. Wii, but Sonic this time.
Okay.
which I'm here for. I'm so down for 4-player multiplayer platform in Sonic. I'm super and 2D. Yes. It is new Super Mario Bros. Wii, but Sonic. I'm down. I assume that this will be online multiplayer. We don't know for sure yet, but I assume, or at least I don't know for sure. They might have did like a press release that confirms or denies this. But I would assume, because it's not Nintendo, and I feel like
the characters physically interact with each other ever? Because I feel like for platformers and stuff like that, in that like if you and I, like in Mario, for example, when you're playing multiplayer, you jump off each other's heads and stuff like that. And you have like, but in a lot of other games, you just phase through each other and there's just there's no collision between, players and stuff. Looking at the trailer, it looks like there's not, which to me means like probably that's easier for it to be like a little bit off sync and still work kind of a thing. So that to me, that bodes well for online multiplayer. Yeah, not that I know anything about anything.
The only thing that would be a giveaway to me whether or not it had collision is if they showed that, like Tails, like if Tails could like carry people, pick up Sonic and fly with him. That would be something that they would showcase here, and I don't think they showed that in the trailer. So that tells me that probably not.
Nice. At the beginning of the trailer and the end of the trailer, it's in, like pixelated kind of something or other. Is that just a thing for the trailer, or can you switch between graphic styles?
I don't know, but that felt like a thing where it's like, hey man,
feels like a trailer thing.
We're bringing classic Sonic into a new direction. Everybody remember him? He's back again, but different. That's what I think that was, but it might be
I think you're right.
A like remastered kind of like deal where they're like playing the original, like Monster Boy or whatever. I think that's what that game's called, the one that Dan likes.
Wonder Boy, maybe? Is Monster Boy the one that I played?
That one. Well, one of those two. I don't know exactly what it is. Somebody ask Dan. But I don't know if it's that. I feel like they would focus on that for longer if it was. But
agreed. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think it looks pretty cool. I've never really been into any Sonic games at all. But it looks like a pretty fun time. So
I like the 2D Sonic games. I like the in theory more than in practice. I like Sonic Adventure, Sonic Heroes 2, not number 2, but as well. But again, those are in theory, because I am aware that as far as game design is concerned, they are not good. But if you play them in the specific way that won't break the game, they're pretty fun, Sonic Generations, that's a good game. But also, I mean, that's a 3D game too. So that's probably the best. It's not entirely 3D, but it has 3D in it. That's probably the best 3D Sonic game, but also it's still not good at 3D. It's just the 3D doesn't ruin the game. Cause I think the best 3D Sonic games are the adventure style ones, cause the boost mechanic is stupid and kind of not even defeats the purpose of being a Sonic game, but being a game at all. Cause you kind of it's just like a rail simulator basically. Just press the button that will make you dash through everything and not really experience anything. That's a stupid mechanic in my opinion, but the rest of the game is pretty good. But anyway, I'm down for this game. I'm here for multiplayer, mostly anything, and I'm down for multiplayer Sonic because it'll give me a reason to play it for an extended period of time with friends and family. Something I'm not playing is the next thing. Your Grace. I don't know what the heck's going on here.
Grace. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the first Your Grace game was, if I remember right, so it's also like Kings and Queens and stuff, and it's all of your decisions, if I remember right, are made with cards in a way that you say like yes or no to various cards, I think is the idea. And I don't really totally remember how that works. All that to say that if that's correct, it looks like this one's doing things a little bit differently in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm looking through the trailer. I don't have a lot of things to say about this. I heard that the first one was an interesting thing. It's maybe a little bit like choose your own adventure-y kind of thing, or just like deal with the consequences from decisions that you make and that kind of a thing, and blah blah blah. But like, I think the art style is kind of neat. It's like a 2D voxel, but like nice looking. In the HD 2D kind of.
Oh
world.
My god,
that was just for you.
Yeah.
But it's in that realm for sure. I think I said this on here, but I can't remember. Back when the direct happened in February, and I had my parents watch it with me, and Octopath Traveler 2 came on, and my dad turned and was like, "Oh, this game doesn't. How come this game doesn't look very good?" And he's like, do people think that this doesn't look good or whatever? And it's like, no, actually, like people really, really like this because, and like once you know it in context, it's like, because people really like, sprites and stuff. And this is a way to do that. But looking at, and it was just funny though. I think what someone defines as good, blah, blah. But it was a very funny thing.
Right. Because I think in isolation, they don't. I think they don't look good. But people have a fondness for the like pixel art style, and it's like a better looking version of that. It's like the modern, like if gaming never evolved past this, but still had higher resolutions, this is what it would look like, Which is like whatever. I don't see. The thing is like, people I think feel like I don't like the art style. I think the art style is fine. I don't like the branding. I think the branding is stupid. But the art style it's fine for what it is. Because I do agree with your dad. Like if I had no attachment to older games at all, like I never played a pixel game in my life, I'd be like, this looks terrible. But knowing what they are trying to do, they did a good job at their attempt. And it's good with that knowledge. That said,
there's a lot of things like that. No, I'm not going to play Yes, Your Grace, No Fall. I don't think. I'll maybe look up a little bit more about the first one and then see. But I mean, there's plenty more games that I'm more interested in that I haven't played that already exist. So this one's not going to break into that for me. But there it is. In any case. And the last one from this was Fae Farm, which we know
this is a game that you are going to play. You're definitely
yeah,
hype for this game.
This was the one in the Indie Direct that had like, maybe it was a regular direct, partner direct. I don't remember.
It was the one with all the farming simulators that people were mad about.
There were like five farming sims in it. And this was, for what it's worth, this is one of the ones that I thought was more interesting than the other ones. I'm not going to play it as a result, specifically because of that, but I just think it's like multiplayer and dungeon crawly and stuff as well. But like the vibe is just not for me, unfortunately, for somebody. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
So Fae Farm, I guess for
the friggin' Wonderful Life remake thing. I don't
When's that coming out?
I don't know. That's like one of those games that I'm like, did that come out? Like, I need to like see about that. Like
Story of Seasons, Wonderful Life. Looking it up. Oh, comes out the end of this month.
Oh, nice. I need to hit them up and see if they'll send it to me. I mean, I'll play it either way. But I feel like they can send me that. I'll stream that. I'll stream that game. Maybe I'll make a video out of it. Depends if I get a good idea.
It's published by Marvelous/Xseed. And there's that.
So it's Fae Farm. September 8th. Coming to Nintendo Switch.
So again, to have not explained it particularly well, it's sort of like chibi / very colorful farming simulator, and there's yeah, again, there's multiplayer and there's dungeon crawling elements, but mostly farming sim and like you build your house and that kind of thing, and you have friends and whatnot. So yeah. If that's
I think Stardew Valley,
jam,
but more about fairies ?
Yeah, and like with graphic style of like I don't know, kind of like Disney Channel something.
Yeah, like a vibe it definitely it's giving like the Starlight Valley thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah, the Disney Animal Crossing. That game. It looks like a chibi version of that.
Yep, 100%. So that's all the games that were announced in the Summer Games Fest for the Switch specifically.
Yep.
Was there anything non-Switch that you were particularly interested in that came out of that?
Sonic.
Nice. A different Sonic thing than this?
No.
Well, I just mean like outside of the Switch things for Summer Games Fest showcase.
Like any other games outside of the Nintendo? No. Absolutely not. Just Sonic. I mean, I don't know. I still don't entirely know how I feel about the Final Fantasy VII remake. I still don't know if I like that or not. Because like when I played it, I didn't dislike it, but I mean, there were things that I definitely did dislike about it. Like the gameplay is fine, but at the end of the day, it's still an RPG. So it still has the annoying RPG stuff that plague RPGs. So I feel like in theory, I'm like, yo, I'd play that because I had fun like with like the battle system of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but there's so much stuff that is not the battle system, and I didn't play Final Fantasy VII, and I am not RPG minded, so it's not my first instinct to be like, I probably got to talk to everybody here, and that's part of the fun. But it's not part of the fun for me. I just want to play the game. I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't care about y'all. If I cared about y'all, I would talk to y'all, but I don't. So I'm not. So don't make me.
But yeah.
That makes sense. I might, who knows? Depends on what else is out at the time. But Sonic is the only, like, I'm definitely getting that, and I'm definitely playing that for sure.
Nice. Good stuff.
And Prince Persia too.
Prince Persia looks pretty cool. Moving on with more Summer Games Fest stuff. There's other showcases that are happening, and so we're just gonna chat about those real quick. And which ones seem like they could be interesting, which ones not so much, or something. I don't know.
True.
So yeah, first 3 already happened. That was June 8th today. I don't know what Volvi is, but the return of Volvi. I don't
know what that
Volver's
is.
Annual Gaming Extravaganza.
Oh, Devolver
was
Digital.
It just? Did they have a?
They
already
did. I did know that they had that. I didn't know that it was called this though.
Devolver.
It did happen though. It happened.
What all was announced there? Anything for Switch? Question mark.
Almost certainly.
That's what I would think. Yeah. Wizard with a Gun. I don't know if that's coming to Switch, but it looks kind of cool. And okay, it looks like not a lot of things were announced. There's like 4 things. Baby Steps, The Talos Principle 2, which the first one's on Switch. Human Fall Flat 2, the first one's on Switch. And Wizard with a Gun. Don't know what that is. So yeah, things. Okay, but so that was the first one that happened. Tomorrow for us, yesterday for when you're listening to this, if you listen to it the day that goes up, if you listen to it late, why didn't you listen to it on Saturday? I'm just kidding.
On Saturday.
Tribeca Games Spotlight.
You Tribeca.
Tribeca. Yep. Anything about that.
There it is. I know they do like a game awards kind of deal that Reggie goes to. That's the extent of that I know.
Yep. Cool. So maybe nothing there.
So probably not watching that.
Probably not. And then Saturday, what? Oh, it's the Wholesome Direct.
Oh, so that's definitely going to have Switch games for sure.
Yes, for
sure.
Honestly,
is Youth still here?
Yeah, that's
Youth is still here. You gotta watch that. That's gonna have a ton of Switch games. I don't know exactly what, but it's going to be vibes. It's going to be a vibe. That's what you're looking for those games. If you like stuff like Stardew Valley, you like Blanc, you like cozy games, there's going to be those in spades at the Wholesome Games thing. There's probably going to be a farming sim there. I'm going to call that
7.
There's going to be a farming sim, at least one. So if you hate those, maybe don't watch it.
Yeah, I know I watched it I think the first year that it happened, like 2020 maybe.
Sounds
and
right.
I think actually what happens with this, so like there's a lot of games that are coming to Switch. There will also be a lot of games that won't be coming to Switch yet because they're probably like a lot of smaller games seem like they get to show up here too. And so it's ones that like really only have enough money to make it to Steam until they've made money from Steam to be able to get an SDK for Switch and then, you know, be able to move it over there. So, so honestly, I think this is a lot of like, all right, see what you'd be interested in playing on Switch come 2 years from now or something like that. If not the ones that, you know, are just already announced.
That said, there will definitely be Switch games there.
Oh, 100%.
For sure. So,
yep, that's June 10th on Saturday at noon Eastern time. So there's that. The OTK Games Expo.
I have no idea what this is. OTK, I mean, OTK is like a streaming org situation thing.
Oh,
so like maybe there's cool stuff there, but there's no way to know for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. And that's also Saturday. And then the last one on Saturday is the Future Games Show Summer Showcase. Who's that put on by? I don't know anything about that one.
I've heard that name before, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just part of Summer Game Fest.
I think that this might be a kind of PC gaming kind of thing, because I think that might be why I've heard of it but never watched it. Because up front, I know that there's nothing there for me.
Yeah, looking at it, that when I Googled it, the first thing that came up was specifically said Steam, and it's like from Steam. So I bet you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, like Parker was saying about the Wholesome Direct, that might also be true here. There might be games shown that may eventually come to Switch, or at this point, I guess whatever the next platform is, depending on how long it takes. But yeah, maybe check it out if you got a PC and you're a PC gamer or you're hopeful.
Yeah. But speaking of PC kinds of games, sort of.
I mean, these are going to come to
PC. Yes, exactly. And then, so yeah, the Xbox Game Showcase is on June 11th. What's Xbox? I'm just kidding. Yeah, and also with the Starfield Direct, what are our? It sounds like they've teased Fable to show up there. Whether that happens or not, but like, why would they?
I think they're not in the position to tease things that they're not going to follow through.
Yes,
so agreed. I feel like we'll probably see it. Not that has anything to do with Switch, because Xbox games come to Switch. I highly doubt, to guarantee that Fable is coming to Switch anytime soon.
Yes,
but
for sure.
I do think that we're going to get some announcements for games that are coming to Switch. I don't necessarily think any of those will be coming from Xbox proper, but in the same way that like the whole freaking PlayStation presentation was also like an Xbox presentation and partially a Nintendo Switch presentation, we can expect to see games that will be revealed here, and they'll also soon after be revealed for Nintendo Switch. Something that I always want every time they have some sort of Xbox thing is I want them to do Banjo. If you don't do Banjo, I'll be sad. I can't be angry because there's no reason to expect it specifically, but I'll be sad because like, why would you waste that? Like, why would you waste having the IP just in general, period? But why would you waste having the IP after it got a boost in like relevance and adoration and acclaim and attention after being in Smash Brothers. Like, make a Banjo game. And put it on Switch.
And especially like with 3D platformers being back in the mainstay and like in people's good graces, as opposed to like the early like mid 2000s where it's like everything's a mascot platform or whatever. Just get a good team on it and it'll be a good old time. Yeah, but no, I mean, in terms of popularity, there's just a lot going for Banjo that they should do something about. I think overall, I mean, like Starfield will be here and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that pans out. I'll get to that in a second, but like overall, I just think they would do themselves a disservice to not have a good amount of first party showings of good games that are coming out in not too long.
Yeah, especially
and I don't know that's going to happen, but like
they kind of like showed their ass a little bit after the PlayStation presentation. So like they gotta follow through. They're gonna look real dumb because not only did they do that whole post of like, yo, thanks for spending the money on that. They didn't say this specifically, but the tone was very much so. Thanks for spending money on marketing our presentation. You know what I mean? Like, you showed a whole bunch of games that are coming to Xbox. They better have many games that are not coming to PlayStation. They better.
Yeah, it's true. Which, I mean, related but unrelated, it seems like whereas things for the Activision acquisition and stuff were kind of starting to look shaky, it passed in I think the EU or something like that, so looks like there's progress being made there, so that's interesting.
We won't see anything from that. I highly doubt we'll see any Activision
absolutely
Xbox things for like think how long it took for us to really see the fruit of that, and we're still not really the fruits of any of their other acquisitions outside of Bethesda. So I think it will be a minute before we start to see Activision 100%. Stuff being like an Xbox. And I mean, like, there will be exceptions to that. I think Activision will be more in line with what we've seen from Bethesda, just because they already have the infrastructure for it and they already have plate spinning and they're already known for games that people like a lot. Versus some of the other studios that Microsoft picked up, they're more iffy on like or they were, and that didn't get the chance to like improve from the resources that they now have access to. With
youth asked what about Call of Duty, and I think that like obviously Call of Duty will continue.
That's kind of what I was getting at, the Call of Duty thing.
Exactly.
Like, I think that like Call of Duty would be like the first thing that like they're able to be like, yeah, we own that. Like Minecraft, right? Like they just could pick up Minecraft and keep running, because it was already a thing that was self-sustaining, and they didn't have to add anything to it. They just got to benefit from it. I think that will be the situation with Call of Duty. And maybe one or two of their other IP, like friggin' Overwatch or whatever.
I think, overall with first-party things with Xbox, like they, going into this gen, I feel like, got to leverage Game Pass in a good way and bought themselves a lot of time. But I think they're starting to run out of some of the time that they actively bought themselves with that, and so it'll hopefully for their sake and for just like owners of Xbox stuff, there's some more first party stuff that'll come out and it'll be good. And the time that it took for it to come out won't have been for naught and all that. Right. So Starfield will be an interesting one just because like, will it feel like in the same way that Tears of the Kingdom felt like just even like a continued breath of fresh air?
No way.
I mean, I don't think it'll feel like Tears, but like, will it feel like Skyrim but in space?
I think they needed to not.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah.
Especially after Tears of the Kingdom. Because the thing that is impressive about Tears of the Kingdom isn't even necessarily all the stuff that's going on. It's all the stuff that's going on and that it works. And the whole thing about Bethesda is they and Bethesda Studios proper, they kind of lived and die by that whole thing of like, man, this is a super ambitious game. Of course it's going to break. But now there's like not just one, but two examples of like, I don't know if of course it's going to break. It should be the expectation. Yeah. So especially since like they're likely investing way more direct funds, even before the Microsoft involvement, into making the game than Nintendo. Like Nintendo, their like profitable point for Breath of the Wild was 2 million copies sold. Ain't no way that any Fallout game in the last 15 years had a break-even point of 2 million copies sold. There's no way. So this game definitely doesn't have that type of situation going on. If they're out here spending $200-300 million on making the video game, especially after Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could like comparatively do what they try to do, and it work on a shoestring budget, again, comparatively. Right. They have to be impressive and it work. But we'll see.
And impressive more than just like technologically, because I feel like that's the easy thing for them to do is keep the formula of, again, Skyrim or whatever. And like Alex said, Skyrim is rough now. Yeah. Like
it was rough then.
Keep the formula of Skyrim, but like apply it to a new locale or whatever. I think that would be like, there would be people that are happy about that because there's still people that just love Skyrim. But like I played Skyrim after I'd played Breath of the Wild, and I played it for like 25 hours and I'm like, cool, I get it. I don't want to play more of this. And so like at this point, I hope for their sake that they were able to be innovative in a way more than just like technologically-ish or something like that, you know. And time will tell. We'll see. But we'll see probably pretty shortly.
See Sunday.
What that looks like. So later that day, the PC gaming show.
I don't think we'll see.
And then the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So
now this. I think
Ubisoft
we'll see a decent amount of Switch games. Assuming that they show a lot of games. Like I think like
true.
I'll say like 20% of what they show will probably be accounted for on Switch in one way or another.
I mean, probably they show Prince of Persia again, I'd guess.
Prince of Persia.
Maybe the other Prince of Persia as well. I don't know. Because what happened to that?
The one that got delayed?
Yeah.
Did that ever come out?
Nope. Coming soon.
I was about to say, or is the one that we saw that? Or are they separate?
They're separate.
That's crazy.
But I think they just delayed it somewhat. Man, originally planned for release in 2021, but delayed multiple times. Oof. Gross. Oof. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know what the plan is with that at this point, but
we'll see, I guess
that's far out. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, Ubisoft
there's a lot that we could see. I don't know exactly what we will see. We might see more. Didn't they already announce the Assassin's Creed Mirage or whatever that's called? We might see more of that.
Oh, yeah. That's like a new but old kind of. Yeah. Oh, is it 2D?
I think it's 2D.
Assassin's.
It might be 3D.
I barely looked into anything at all. I just remember seeing things. My impression of it was that it's like it goes back to the classic formula. I thought that it was like,
I might be thinking of something else that already came out. But the Assassin's Creed Mirage, I do know that it is like something that goes back to the old school like Assassin's Creed stuff in terms of like tone and like character and like setting. But I need.
I mean, for what it's worth, this trailer is all CG. So
okay, well.
Couldn't even know from based on that. I mean, it's CG that I think if it were a 2D game, people would be like, oh, like it would feel deceptive in a that kind of way.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if so that was the case.
Oh, this one's a more recent one. Does this have gameplay in it? Okay, I think it's a 3D game, but yeah, it sounds like it's based on it's a 3D game. But it's kind of going more back to the roots or whatever. Which
so I think we may see more of that. I don't think that's coming to Switch, especially if it's 3D.
It seems like they brought back some older Assassin's Creeds and then kind of didn't, even though they probably could bring
certain others version.
Cloud version, or even like Origins. Is that the one before Odyssey? I don't know. Probably they could port that if they really wanted to or something, but obviously they don't.
Oh no, that was Odyssey. Odyssey was the first one that came to Switch, and that was a cloud version.
Right. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yes.
That's why I was saying like maybe they do a cloud version of this, just like they did of that. But something tells me no.
No, yeah.
Especially if they're in the like CG trailer phase, like it's probably like it might come to Nintendo, but not the Switch.
Yep. I totally forgot that Assassin's Creed Odyssey came to Switch. Man, it just goes to show how like I'm looking it up. Did it actually end up coming out?
The cloud version, yeah. It came out.
Okay, because on Nintendo Life it's shown up, whatever. It's nuts to me that the cloud version of games just like come and go, and what's the point? You know what I mean? To be perfectly honest, like nobody's playing the Kingdom Hearts games.
Something tells me that it's, I mean, spoilers for my video, I guess, for people that haven't already seen that. I think it's a situation like that, where it's like the people that are playing it aren't the type of people that would be talking about it, because the people that would be talking about it already decided for themselves that they don't want to play it. But like people just saw their friend playing Kingdom Hearts 3 or whatever, and I want to play that game, but I only have a Nintendo Switch. I want to look it up on my Nintendo Switch. Oh, it is on there. Okay, I'll play that. I could definitely see that being the case, especially since like it was like a staggered thing. It's not like they just like did a floodgates of like the floodgates opening of cloud versions and then we saw nothing. It was like a drip feed of like, here's a cloud thing, and then a year later here's another cloud thing and another cloud thing, and then a year, you know, like that says to me that they're at least profitable, you know. So
I mean, and you know, I wonder if there's, I mean, probably they're profitable largely because also they're probably, I would imagine, really cheap to do. But also I could imagine just as a company, PR wise, even like, you know, money aside, that maybe it's worth it to just shut people up about it. You know what I mean? Like that, to get people off your back about Kingdom Hearts being on Switch, like it's on there.
Right.
Like,
why do you not have your game on the leading platform right now?
And then it's like, it's on there. It's a cloud version. Like at this point, I'm sure that the number of people that were like, how come Kingdom Hearts isn't on Switch, and like talking about it and stuff like that, aren't talking about those things anymore. Because like, why bother? Because it, you know, so like they don't have that negative kind of PR stuff around that and get to be like, oh yeah, it's on there. And then also exactly the stuff that you said, that like people are getting it because it's just like the only place they can get it, and you know, they'll look around and do that.
Right.
So yeah, Ubisoft Forward. And the last one, sorry, go ahead. Did you have more things?
No, I was going to do the same thing that you're doing.
Nice. Last one for Summer Games Fest specifically, which for what it's worth, I am glad that it's truncating things into the more like 1 week of things instead of throughout the summer, because that was
rough.
I don't know. It's hard to keep track of that when things are just like, oh, there's something next week on July 17th, you know. But is the Capcom showcase, and you have things to say about this one, I believe.
Yeah, Capcom's popping off, man. They got a lot of cool stuff happening, or that happened, I should say. They've been just hitting it out of the park. A lot of people like Resident Evil 4 remake. I see a lot of people saying that that's in contention for Game of the Year. I don't know how. I'm sure it's a good game, but I don't know how. Street Fighter 6, obviously, I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'll talk about that. And freaking Mega Man, dude. I don't know.
And not this year, but like Monster Hunter's been doing great with them.
They've been,
like,
I mean, there's like DLC, new DLC updates and stuff like that has happened this year. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I got a notification for it in the Capcom Creator Discord, and I was like, I don't play that game, so I'm not even going to engage. But yeah, like there's upkeep happening there. So like, I'm just excited to watch it because I like they're on a roll, and I feel like they don't want to ruin that. So we'll see. I hope to see my like ideal, like what happens here is I do want a new Mega Man thing. I hope they do freaking Mega Man X10 or 9. I think 9 is probably the next, 10 or 9, one of those two. I don't remember where Mega Man X series stopped, but I need another one of those. It's too soon for them to do another Battle Network thing because they just did the remaster that, like, you know, remaster collection. That's usually the, like, read the room. Like, do people still care about this? But that would also be hype if they, for whatever reason, already like jumped the gun there and we're like, we don't care what y'all think, we're making it anyway. Like, that'd be sick. I mean, I would be down to see if, like, pending if for like it comes to Switch in one way or another, any of their IP really. Like, that's the thing. I need to already care about or at least how I'm approaching, like, how I choose what I do and don't do with Capcom, is if I already care about the IP for one reason or another, I don't care what platform it's on. I'm going to play it and I'm going to talk about it and or stream it or whatever, right? But if it's on Switch, especially given like the quality that they've showcased so far this last year, I'll try everything, you know? So that's kind of how I feel with this. Like, I'm excited to watch it because, like, I'm down to try whatever comes to Switch, and I'm open to be impressed by everything else in a more personal, like, it appeals to my sensibilities kind of way. I feel like we're probably going to see something Street Fighter 6 because I feel like they always show something Street Fighter 6, even though I don't think they need to show Street Fighter 6.
Yeah,
because the game already came out, but literally we saw Street Fighter 6 today during the summer game thing, even though it was like a collab thing with Exo Primal or something like that.
Okay, sure, yeah.
It was a Street Fighter fighting mode thing in that game. So we might see Street Fighter in one way or another. Another thing that I would be down to see, because I did want to stream this, Ace Attorney. I wanted a new Ace Attorney game. So give me that, please and thank you.
I'm just looking up Capcom franchises, and I forget how many of these.
Also Beautiful Joe, but that's out of nowhere.
Yeah, true. Yes, but like. Yeah, there's about. I mean, I could see Dragon's Dogma 2 getting another something or other. I forget that's them. And just looking at other things that they have. I mean, like, just some that stand out. Breath of Fire. Doubt anything happens with that, but I like Breath of Fire.
Oh yeah, I still didn't send that message. I gotta send the message. Alec told me to send the message.
What message?
Alec told me to tell them to make Breath of Fire 2 or 3
gotcha,
or whatever.
Yes, got to do it. That's right.
Yeah.
Other things. Yeah, Beautiful Joe, all that. Ghosts and Goblins, I forgot was them. There's nothing new happening with that because they
Beautiful Joe would be hype. That's probably the most hype thing to me me that they could announce, and I would be popping off. So I'm down, but I don't see why. You know, like, I think the closest that we'll probably get to them making Beautiful Joe is if they do it in collaboration with Platinum, because that was like a Clover Studio, like Platinum before Platinum kind of deal.
Yeah.
So
interesting stuff. Yeah, that'll be fun to see what happens there. I mean, it feels like with single developer or single publisher showcases that, like, you know, probably realistically they'll have like 5 real announcements or something like that, I'd guess, because it's just, it feels too ambitious to be more than that, because like the Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation ones,
it depends on the studio, I think.
It's like, yeah, that's true.
And I mean, has more than that, you know.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, how many of those are things we've seen before that they're showing us again, or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but still, yeah, I mean, depending on how you count it, for one thing.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Like, for me, it depends on how far along the thing. Like, I don't count the initial announcement if all we get is a logo. That doesn't matter to me, or even a cinematic trailer. To be honest with you, the first time we actually see a thing is when I'm like, okay. That's why, like, for the PlayStation showcase thing, I gave them Spider-Man, because we didn't see Spider-Man until now. We just know it exists. But now we saw Spider-Man. So, like, when I was like, okay, we saw this exclusive, that was acknowledged. Similar thing here. Granted, I don't know how much we know from either one of them that, like Ubisoft, we know Beyond Good and Evil 2, but ain't no way that we're seeing that. Even though, like, realistically, we should have saw it years ago at this point.
Yeah, right.
Because they announced it crazy. Like a decade ago at this point.
I remember it being in the 2017 E3 and me watching it being like, oh, wow, it must be pretty close to being done for them to have all this CGI stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, Alex said collective fever dream. Yeah. That feels about right. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's so sad. I was hyped for that. but also that game is what it is the origin of the fire that burns deep inside of my soul for preemptive announcements.
Yes. I feel that.
I hate it so much because it does nothing for nobody. And I like recently, whenever somebody like brings that up, like, you know, like people that are like super I don't want to say it like that because I'm pro game dev, but like super pro game dev, where it's like, well, they do that because they want to drum up excitement amongst like developers that they want to hire or whatever. It's like, there's other ways to do that. You freaking put them in a newsletter, show them stuff, and like just make it more vague and be like, doesn't this game look cool, you know? Or even how they do literally anything ever when they hire a game dev. We're working on a new Zelda game, you know, like they do that all the time. You don't need to announce a game to drum up excitement like that. All it does is freaking boost your freaking shareholder revenue. And that is why they actually do it. I think the hiring is just like a smokescreen. But that's my biggest hope for all of these, is that it's very minimal preemptive announcements. And for what it's worth, unless these things get delayed to hell, I didn't notice a whole lot of that. Like there was like some 2024, you know, and I mean there was a decent amount of 2024, but most of them had dates. It was like January, whatever, 2024, which is fine. But the vague 2024 is like, you might as well not giving me a date, because 2024 and just 2024 could just as easily turn into 2025, then 2026. That, you know, like at one point in time, 100%. Breath of the Wild was supposed to come out in 2014. You know,
like, yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we don't get too many of those, you know, non-announcements, because like, I mean, for example, Pikmin 4, that game's never going to come out. It was announced so long ago, like that's not even a game that exists, but it's coming out in July 21st. And we got a new little trailer for it this week, which was basically just a confirmation of you can create a character and a little story overview thing. And honestly, I thought it was very funny and cute. And that's fun. I'm down. It didn't teach us that many new things, but it's neat.
I was already down. I was curious about what they were going to do with the captain. Like, cause they always do some sort of new captain thing. I didn't expect that. I'll say that. I didn't expect them to create a captain. I'm sure that I'm going to be annoyed by the limitations of the created character thing, because it'll probably be skewed.
Yes,
put it like that.
Let me take a look at what we even see. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, yes. I think it looks like, I'm sure in terms of anything but skin color.
Yeah, skin color,
hairstyles.
I feel like
skin colors there, I'm sure, and hairstyles, I bet there's like 8. You know?
Yeah.
There's literally 6.
There's exactly. There's like 6 total, and then maybe one of them is like, I guess my hair could do that in theory.
I don't know that you're going to feel that way about any of these 6.
I don't either,
to be honest.
But that's usually what it is what I'm saying. It's like there's usually like, in any given game, for the most part, there's like 20 options in general, and like 5% of them are like, I guess so.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
time.
I mean, hey, new captain, and that's cool. That's neat. I'm down.
That's true.
That was already what I was going to use my other voucher on. I already used my other voucher, so now I'm just going to get more vouchers, and then I'll have another voucher that's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I guess I'll save it for Metroid Prime 4, unless or until something else happens.
True. Then the last little 2 bits of news. For one thing, there's some new NSO games that came out. There's 2 Game Boy game, Kirby Tilt and Tumble Game Boy Color game, and Blaster Master Enemy Below, also a Game Boy Color game.
Does Tilt and Tumble use gyro?
Yeah, I think so. I downloaded. I was trying to download it right before the podcast, and my internet was being weird. But I think it downloaded. But I'm not gonna have time to boot it up and find out. So I just assume yes.
Yeah, I would assume so too.
NES Mystery Tower, which apparently never released outside of Japan.
I didn't know that there were other NES games to even add. I thought they did all those.
Apparently. Yeah. There's like when you go through the libraries, I'd gotten so used to what the N64 library and the I get, Game Boy Advance or whatever ones look like. Then you go to NES and it's just like, just like, it's so much stuff. And that's just really funny
and
to me.
Most of it, it's bad.
I would not play just about any of it. I think, anything that I've played in there is probably all that I'll ever play in there. I'd imagine. But and then lastly, on SNES, Harvest Moon.
Nice. I didn't even know that. I might attempt to play that.
I mean, honestly, I'm always surprised going back to SNES games and being like, oh yeah, that looks like indie games now, kind of a thing.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why when that first happened, I was like, the SNES and Game Boy Advance are the NSO and N64, I guess. Or the NSO offerings that I'm like, genuinely, I can understand people that have never played these games before wanting to play these games and playing them often. I having said those specific words, I want to retract the N64 part. I think the only reason to play N64 is the same as the only reason to play the NES or the Game Boy games. But nah.
History,
even the game that in theory that I was thinking, I was like, yo, Pokemon Stadium, can't mess that up. That doesn't that's not impacted negatively by 3D, 3D being new or whatever. It's a menu game. They messed that up too. Bad console.
There it is. You heard it here first. So there's that last bit of news. This is just I don't think it seems like this is technically a rumor, but is reported as not super rumory, but that Nintendo and Illumination are pen and papering for Zelda movie.
Yeah.
So
the film industry is weird.
It is.
So, I mean, especially compared to games, I guess not even especially. It's weird because of the way that games are handled.
Yeah.
Because I guess technically the game industry is the weird one because it is newer. But they just are and you would think that they would be the ones that want to be secretive because the whole value of watching a movie, or most of the value, is knowing these sort of things versus playing a game. Even if I know the end of a game, I could still want to play that game because I'm playing the game. You know what I mean? But anyway, Deadline and those sorts of things, they announce stuff so far out before there's any sort of official information. They don't even do the video game thing of here's an announcement 5 years too early. Here's a CGI trailer. It's yeah, man, there's going to be a brand new freaking To Kill a Mockingbird movie. And we have nothing to show you of any of that. We haven't casted anybody, but it's happening. See you in 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, or like the Marvel stuff that they're like, we're going to do this movie in 2027. And like,
that's close to just going to happen because they show the logo.
Yes. Yeah.
They'll change the logo and the name sometimes, but usually they do a video gamey like freaking Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like we've known the Quantum Mania name for a long time before it came out. But then there's also the thing of like the freaking Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 or whatever. And it didn't end up being Part 1 and Part 2. It was Endgame.
It's true.
But yeah. And film industry is different.
I opened up, just for anybody watching the screen, I opened up NSO, and this is how many games there are on here.
On the
that
NES.
Is so many games. That's NSO for NES
than I thought existed.
That's nuts. Like, and so many of these are tiny little icons. Like, that's ridiculous. Look at how small those guys are.
In comparison, open up the Game Boy Advance games.
Oh yeah, 100%. Game Boy Advance, close, open this. I mean, it'll take a second to open up, but I mean, you know, and we're going to get more Game Boy Advance games, but even once we get all the Game Boy Advance games we're going to get, it's still not going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near. And it could be. Yeah. It could. See, the thing is, like, I think that there's significantly more good Game Boy Advance games, but we will get way less of them because a decent amount of those are owned by third parties that, like, wouldn't release them on their own, you know?
Yep.
Or not at all.
Whereas, like, yeah, right. And like so many third parties that, you know, there's Castlevania and stuff like that on the NES too. And those third parties are releasing them on their own, or like Final Fantasy games for Square Enix, whatever. But then there's just so many like borderline shovelware games that like I would consider shovelware based on their quality, but at the time technically weren't, you know?
Yeah.
And those ones is like, nobody wants to buy those separately, so just chuck them on there.
People paid I mean, not $60 specifically, but full price for soccer.
Many dollars
on the NES for baseball. Not the sport, but the game titled baseball.
Yeah. It's a nuts time. And you know, we're not playing baseball, but we are playing other games.
How do you know?
And we're going to tell you about.
You don't
I know that you're not playing. I know everything you played. I've been watching you all day long. So yeah, what games are you playing?
I mean, funnily enough, this week I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom at all. Not even necessarily by choice. But just because it didn't pan out that way, I'll probably play it. I mean, I didn't stream Wednesday because I entered Smash tournaments on Wednesday. I'm going to, assuming that I can do the makeup stream, that will be Tears of the Kingdom. So I will have had played it this week. But so far this week, I haven't even turned the video game on. That's not the game's fault, to be clear. I still actively want to play the game, but there's other stuff coming out. 2023 is going crazy.
It is.
So I mostly just played Street Fighter and Smash Brothers. That's mostly it.
Nice.
And I have thoughts on both of those things, but
yeah,
you could go first.
I'll keep Tears of the Kingdom thoughts short this week, just because we talked about it a long time, many other weeks. But in short, it's good. I like it a lot, and I'm playing it.
How far
I still haven't
right now?
I'm wandering around doing stuff. I haven't gotten to put as much time into it this week as I did last week. So I've made it up towards Death Mountain kind of area, doing stuff around there, and that's only the second one that I'm working on. But like, you know, wandered around in the depths some more, and I think now going to try to beeline some shrines for a little bit, just to like, I think still just like 6 hearts, one of which is a temple one, and then 2 4/5 staminas, and I'm going to get the last 5th of that, and then do a bunch of hearts. Because it is annoying to get one shot by just like, there's a lot of black bokoblins around, and they're strong, and I, can get one shot by them if I don't happen to have exactly my
You just need better
one-time leveled up armor. Yeah. So, and that's the other thing I'm doing. I finally, I'm glad that I went to, the game is trying to gently nudge you and go to Rito maybe, and then go to Goron City maybe, and that those kinds of directions, because those directions do set up some things, so in general, glad that I found the first fairy fountain, and working on getting the second one going, and then we'll be able to finally level up armor more.
I think I have three fairy fountains.
I mean, honestly, unless you're gonna grind the game a ton, the fourth one almost feels, Breath of the Wild, I did. For this one, I probably will. I definitely will. But the last one is you need, I assume in this one it's the same, but you need this many dragon scales, and you need this many star fragments and stuff to level up your stealth armor one time. It's a lot. But when you're looking for things to do, it's fun to do that kind of stuff. So
true.
Yeah. I think, gonna grind some shrines for a little bit and try to find more Korok seeds just to go ahead and have more inventory space, because it's just nice to have that. Yeah. The further you get, the more it's nice to have utility stuff. I don't really want to have an axe because they're not, unless I could probably make a good version of an axe, I guess. I don't know what combination does that yet, but I do.
I still don't really.
I think the boss bokoblin horns.
I don't use those as an axe at all for weaponry. If anything, I shoot them. That's as close as I get to being Alec. Is I shoot those. But usually I use the horns for elixirs.
Oh, sure. Because they make, I guess, the more valuable the monster part, the better elixir it makes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either
I've been using guts because they're pretty good
or whatever. It's
gotcha. Yeah. Honestly, I am at the point where it's I've got a ton of black bokoblin horns, and those they do make pretty good weapons, at least for where I'm at in the game. But I've got so many that it's I'm gonna get more by the time I'm gonna open it up, and we'll keep talking, but I'm gonna find out how many of those I have, just because at the beginning they felt like the most important resource or whatever. But even dragons are pretty hard. Pretty easy to find, and so I can just go get in my one play session today, I think I ran into 3 dragons, or one dragon twice and another one once, and got a horn twice from those things. And the second time from the same dragon, I was I'm just not going to bother right now. And there was no way in Breath of the Wild that I would have not bothered with the dragon at some point, but just, I know it's going to come back around, so I'm just not too worried about it. And that's just a funny feeling to have.
There's one thing that I actively want to do, and that might be what I do when I stream this game next. That is I wouldn't say it's a spoiler, but it's kind of a spoiler. So if you don't,
is it a mechanic thing or a story thing?
It's a mechanic thing. I'm not doing story stuff. I already did all the story stuff I want to do, but get a house. I need a house, man.
Yeah. I haven't even been back there yet.
I saw some stuff. With the house, and I'm yo, I want that.
Okay, I want to know from anybody that, because I guess this wouldn't be any more spoiler than a house. For anybody who's gotten this far in the house, that obviously it sounds like you can get in Breath of the Wild,
next
you
to
can
nothing.
put weapons up on the wall.
I did see that. Right?
Can we do that in this one?
Yes.
Nice. Yes. I like that a lot. I want to do that. I'm going to get a house ASAP because that's
this is a little bit more spoilery, but it's a house. So you could never encounter this ever. So I think it's more helpful to know this than to not, personally. You can, your house is modular. So you can build more floors and more rooms and stuff so I saw people having multiple rooms that they put shields and swords on and stuff like that. I'm oh, that's ridiculous. So I need to give me a house.
I like it.
And I want to know how much money it is, because I still have my freaking 50. No, I have like 40,000 rupees from when I was like, I need money, and I grinded hunting for 3 hours. And
what's your like the ticket for that? It's making food recipes, but with
I go to the Tabantha region, and I freaking hunt like moose and rhinos or bears. I still haven't found a rhino in this game. And I get the gourmet meat, and I put 5 gourmet meat into a dish, and I cook it, and I sell it. And that's like 400.
How much is that worth?
It's like 400 rupees per.
That's a lot of rupees for things.
It's almost as much as a diamond. So I'm like, yo.
Yeah, seriously.
It doesn't take that long. I mean, it doesn't take that long in the grand scheme of things. Like, I grinded,
but also it's kind of fun to do that kind of thing.
It's I'm actively
finding a thing, hunting it, and that's a part of it.
It still leads to the same sort of situations where it's like I'm chasing a freaking moose that's running away from me, and then it's like near a shrine. I'm like, sure, I'll do that, or I find a dragon or whatever it is, right? So like. I'm like progressing with money, and I also am actively playing the video game and doing something that I find to be fun, which is the combat part of it. So if you're in need of money, I recommend doing that.
Yeah, I am going to do that for sure. I think I talked about this last time, but like I fought a bear at some point, and it was hilarious to me that the bear was like has more health than the demon spawn of things.
The bear is not worth fighting. I like hunted it a few times just because it attacked me, and I was like, well, I guess this is where we're at. It's not worth it. It takes way more resources to kill that thing than you're going to be able to recoup in rupees.
Yep.
Because I think
it gives you like 4 maybe gourmet meats or 3.
I think it gives you like 3. I think it gives you like 3 gourmet meat, and then sometimes it gives you like salmon. And I'm not selling the salmon. So it's not, I'm not like, I might not even recoup those funds. I might use more than $500 worth of arrows to kill that thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's not worth. And it doesn't have a health bar, so I mean, I guess it doesn't have a health bar, so you can't even tell like how far into it is. Like, cut your losses at some point. Yeah, the one thing, it's fun. I love that you can ride. I haven't ridden a bear in this one yet.
I haven't ridden anything other than a horse in this game yet.
Okay, so I intentionally rode a deer once, and then here I'm just.
Are they still stupid?
They're pretty stupid. They're very like, I mean, they're the same as in Breath of the Wild. Okay, yeah. But it's still just like, it's fun to, it's just fun. I'm going to show this on here real quick. For audio listeners, I was running and didn't.
Glare. Oh, wait. Okay, we can see.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to start again in a second. I was just running around in Heber Mountains and stuff, and then jumped off a rock and happened to land on a deer. And I was like, soothe it real quick. And then there's a deer for me. And so then I rode it for like 2 minutes. And I was like, I don't have anywhere to go here. But that was just like a fun little thing. And I rode a stall horse at some point. But my one complaint is there's a couple of animals.
Keep those now.
You can keep a stall horse?
I think so.
Oh. I did find in Breath of the Wild, there was specifically like Ganondorf's big old horse that you could find and tame and stuff like that. That there were like all these rumors about. And in this one, there's a similar situation of some variety. And I found that today, and now
there's like a few horse related, like special horse in the wild. That there's like quests and stuff that somebody's like, yo, can you find my horse? And then you find the horse and you're like, you can keep it.
Yeah. But okay, so one complaint is, I mean, not complaint really, but like there's a couple of things that I feel like I should be able to ride that. And the game doesn't let me try to ride that. And I want it like a moose, for example. Also, those really big birds, like the kind of like ostrich looking ones.
Oh, the Sky Island birds.
Yeah, there's some of them also on the road to Death Mountain, I realized today as well. So unless those are different and you can ride the Sky Island ones, because I only tried on the ones on the ground, but they're both like ostrich sized things. And I think you should be able to ride those. That would be fun. But you can't unless I'm just doing it wrong, which is possible. But and also, yeah, I haven't found any rhinos yet in this one, but in Breath of the Wild, you couldn't ride those.
I wish
either,
you could check
I want to.
the animals that you could, like all the animals that you could ride into the stable. I want to check a bear into the stable.
And then they're like, huh, we had 6 horses and a bear registered for you, but now there's just a bear. And he's very slow all of a sudden. Like, yeah. So it's a fun time. I'm having a good time with it. I'm going to cut myself off there talking about it because I could go on for too long. But let's talk about, so you've been playing Smash and Street Fighter 6. I'm very curious to hear about Street Fighter 6 especially. So
I'll start with Smash.
Tell me some things.
I entered tournaments because that's a thing I've been doing. I did fine. I didn't do 3-2, and the 2 tournaments I entered yesterday, I got 2-2, which is kind of cringe, but it's fine. I still like performed to my seed. I didn't do worse than I was expected to do, and that's the bare minimum for me. The other tournament, the Sandbag tournament, I also didn't do as good as I usually do, but technically I did better than I usually do, in the sense that I made it deeper in the bracket overall. Like, I got more wins once I made it to main bracket, but the bracket that I made it to, I didn't make it to like the top 4 of my pool, so that put me in the intermediate bracket. And the way that works is not the same as, like, I feel like it could work like so with Summit, right? You there's the round robin pools, but they're Swiss pools, so that's kind of different from round robin. It's more like skill based matchmaking, but for round robin pools,
and a lot more cheese.
No, it's kind of the opposite of that.
Just because they're Swiss, you know.
I hate that. It's the worst cheese. But
nice.
But it's like, if I win my first round, I'll be fighting somebody that also won their first round. Say I won my first round but lost my second round, I'll be fighting somebody that won their. Yeah, it's like that sort of situation. They try to match you up with people that have a similar amount of wins and or losses to you, which like is sort of like to keep it competitive, but also a way to like make you have to earn your placement, because like you don't get to like make up for bad performance if you're playing against people that have a similar performance to you, because you're not going to be able to earn more points than people that are already doing better. You'll just be able to like get ahead of people that are doing similarly to you. But also it's like skill based in the sense that like it's not a one and done loss thing. You're not going to be like necessarily paired with multiple people that would be able to like beat you per se, because they're doing as well or as poorly as you. But I was freaking 2 points, and this is the thing about it being online that annoys me. I was 2 points off of making top 4 in my pool, and the first round that I had was a DQ, so I was maximum only able to get 1 point from that round. Now there's a possibility that I could have lost that round and got no points, but the likelihood of that is way lower than me just getting the 1 point from the DQ. I would much rather have the chance to get 3 points and risk having none than to get the guaranteed 1 point. Because if I could have gotten those 3 points, or even those 2 points for like winning one round winning one match but losing the round, that could have put me in striking distance of top 4, and then could have did a tiebreaker, or they look at like game count or whatever it is, right? So that was rip. But once I got to the bracket, I got to losers finals. And then, before losers finals, it was like losers quarterfinals that I was kind of like tapped out. Like, I really didn't care anymore, because I was like looking at the placement, because I thought at first that was like, okay, the further I get in the bracket will help my placement, because that's just what I assumed. But then I looked after I won like 2 matches in the bracket, and it didn't change my placement. So I'm like, I'm just wasting my time here. Like, I mean, I'm still getting the experience or whatever, which is why I ultimately I didn't completely throw, but it was like 10 p.m. by the time I was like, all right, bro. Like, I started the tournament at 5 p.m. Like, this is a long ass tournament. And for me to be not getting anywhere in terms of like placement, it's not really worth it. But it was a good experience. I fought so many Jigglypuffs. And I don't know why. I fought a lot of Jigglypuffs, and I fought a lot of K-Rules, and I fought a lot of Incineroars. I didn't lose a single game to any Jigglypuff. I don't know. I'm cracked at the Jigglypuff matchup. Ivysaur go stupid. But the other matchups are like, I mean, K-Rool's also easy, but it's annoying with Pokemon Trainer. But also it's like, this is something I'm realizing now after having more experience. I don't like being comfortable with both characters in a matchup. I don't like it. Because then I don't know. I don't know for sure who to go in the beginning. So that it's like gambling game one. Because like the plus side of feeling comfortable with both characters is if game one didn't work, I can be like, okay, is that a player like a play style thing, or is it the stage or whatever, and I can make the decision from there. So like that's good, but I rather go into game one confident with one or the other, because I'd rather go into the set with having won game one, because that means the last game I get the stage counter pick and the character counter pick. But if I lose game one, I have neither of those things. So like that's something that I'm realizing with doing more tournaments and stuff like that. And I gotta figure out, like, even if it's a little bit of difference with, like, I prefer, like, I realized after fighting freaking like 4 K-Rolls that I feel more generally comfortable fighting K-Roll with Min Min because I can cheese him before he could cheese me. Pokemon Trainer, I can win more convincingly when I win, but there's more chances for him to hit me with some stray BS and I die at 10 and then I lose because of it. With Min Min, I'm like, I don't touch you, you don't touch me, you die before I do. So that's something I learned, and I'm gonna keep entering it, at least to do that is to learn. So that was Smash. Street Fighter, I'm like much more in the, like, I'm also a thing that I'm playing to learn, or playing and learning, and mostly playing because I like learning how to play fighting games. Playing Kimberly, I know how to play the video game much better than I did when the beta, because the beta didn't have a training mode. Now I know how to do moves that I didn't even know existed. I'm starting to understand how to work those moves in, because the thing about Street Fighter, or at least to me, from the outside looking in before I like started playing it, is it felt like people that know like the like combos and like special moves and stuff like that have an inherited advantage just generally, but really you just have an advantage state, because like combos and like special moves and stuff like that are just like, it just makes every hit that you get matter more. But I feel like, especially like in the phase that I'm at now, where I'm like, I know some combos, but I don't know nearly all of them that I need to know with this character. The matches that I win more often than not are ones that I just go for like the safe, like just pokes and like maybe a stray hit here and there, you know. It's very rare that I like win because I got 5 like 20 hit combos or whatever. Like it's always because I just outspaced them with this specific move that I could read their habit of, like, oh, they're crouch blocking, so like let me kick them with an overhead, you know what I mean? So like there's just a lot of stuff like that me learn, and I think that also is like helping me get better faster, because I know that like I can identify why I am losing, despite the fact that Street Fighter is not a game that I play. It's like, oh, I like, even with the beta, like I knew that like I was losing because I didn't know how to disrupt people's block string. I didn't know how to like make them guess how they wanted to block, because the only combo I knew was something that they can be like, oh, he's doing this combo, I need to block straight on, then down, then above, you know, jump, or whatever it is. But if you can mix up your combo, and or even like how you attack, like now I know that Kimberly has this attack that's like a cross up, but it's a cross up that's an option select, which means like what it sounds like it means. I can choose what I want to do in the moment. So like she like jumps, she like skips into the person, and like the option that you have when it hits is like either you can disengage and jump backwards, you can jump straight up, which, well, I'll explain what you can do with all those options after I explain what the options are, or you can cross somebody up. So like I can go behind them, I can go above them, or I can go back to where I started. If I go above them, that's more of like a call out that they're going to like assume that I'm going for the like the cross up, or like they're going to try to push forward, and I can punish them in the air for trying to like advance on me. Disengaging is just like, it's a call out to, they're going to overcommit on something, and I can hit them for more damage with like a special or whatever. And the cross up is like that, what I was talking about as far as like disrupting people's block strings, and that's most of why it's valuable, because they never really know for sure. Even if that was the only move I ever did, they never know for sure how to block, because they have to know.
It's a rock paper scissors thing of like,
yep,
I don't know which one. Yeah,
exactly. Like that's the type of move, and like those moves kind of exist in Smash too. Well, in every fighting game, that like I could beat somebody just with that move. Like if I had a read on them, I could exclusively use that move and win. But like I'm still like trying to like figure out those moments and like get more used to like the scramble situations of like, there's a mechanic called Drive Rush, which I don't even know what, there's not really a equivalent to that in Smash Brothers specifically, but it's basically like a guard break kind of situation. And the way that you beat it generally is you can grab, and that beats that. You can jump above it, or you can challenge it by doing the same thing after your opponent does it. And that can be annoying because you can, or the last way that you can beat it is if you hit your opponent 3 times before their drive rush comes out. Or drive impact is exactly the phrasing for this version of this mechanic. So the thing that's annoying about that is like there's certain moves that have more priority than other moves. So it's like you can hit somebody 2 times and you're not going to be able to get the 3rd hit because the strength of the attack that you use is too high to be able to get the 3rd hit out, and blah blah blah, all that crap. So I'm trying to build the muscle memory of like like knowing like, okay, they're going to press that here, so let me wait to like press a button until they commit to a button so that I can do the drive rush or challenge their drive rush, or B, just say, F your drive rush, I'm going to do a special and do big damage because I know that you're trying to do the drive rush. I need to build that muscle memory. It's very similar to like, even though there is parrying in this game, it feels like more of a parry like in Smash Brothers kind of thing than even parrying does in this game. It feels like a more common scramble situation than the specific parry thing, because like parrying is like even more of a like guess, I feel like, in this game than in Smash Brothers. Because in Smash Brothers, it's like the only thing that I'm guessing when I shield in front of somebody is that they're not going to grab me. But with parrying in this game, a lot of the times it's preemptive. So it's like I'm parrying because I know that you're going to go for a special that's not going to cross me up, and I can like drop the parry and then I can punish you, or I know that you're going to do the drive rush or blah 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 or whatever, right? But and I guess that depends on where you're at in terms of Smash Brothers and your skill, because sometimes parrying in Smash Brothers, or most times I should say, parrying in Smash Brothers is a similar situation because most people don't parry intentionally. So like, I guess that's an important distinction to make too. But I parry intentionally. So usually it's like, it's a call out. I'm shielding because I know you're going to do something that I can then parry after the fact. That is me telling you, you're not going to grab me. But in Street Fighter, there's a lot more risky things that people can go for to punish you for drive parrying. Either they can do nothing and that exhausts your meter for drive parrying and drive rush and all that stuff. It's just like a whole thing. But yeah, I'm learning the game. I'll be decent soon. I'll be good eventually. I don't know how fast that'll happen though, but I'll be decent soon enough.
Man, that's all. Yeah, there's just like so much depth to that kind of thing. It's nuts. Are you playing the single player mode at all, or trying that out?
I played the arcade mode. I didn't play. What is it called? World Tour. I didn't play World Tour at all yet. I do plan to eventually. Something else that I like. So like I said, I play Kimberly, and Street Fighter, unlike Smash Brothers, they do like multiple like alts for your character. Like they, and you know how in Smash Brothers some characters have like distinct variations of like this is the freaking what's like the Wario bike outfit, and then that has a certain amount of colors, and then the classic like overall hat outfit, and that has a certain amount of colors. They do a similar situation to that, and not only do they by the end of the game or even further along in the game have more of those distinct variations, they have way more colorways for that, but those cost money generally,
like real money,
and I'll get to that because even that is better. At least so far. There's a way that you can unlock the only other variation, at least that I know of. I think there's only two variations right now for every character. You can unlock that by maxing out your relationship. Or I don't even know if you necessarily have to max out the relationship, but increasing your relationship with whatever character you want to unlock the custom alt for or whatever. And I mean, I was going to do that for Kimberly, but I was like, I just want to use the outfit now. So I bought currency. I gave them $5 because I didn't buy the video game. So I was like, that feels okay to me. Like either way, like even if I bought the video game, I'd give them $5, you know? Like, but especially since I didn't buy the video game, I didn't blink twice. I was like, I'll give you money. I like this game. I didn't have to pay for it. So I got currency, and to get the alt, it's not even $5, it's 50 coins. So that's like $1. It's a dollar to get the alt. That's worth. I don't know if that will be the price going forward. If that's the price going forward, that means that I just off rip, I have enough to get 5 alts for my character.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty dope. I wish that was a thing in Smash Brothers. And even with that, like you have the custom alt, and then there's like 8 different. There might be less than that, but it feels like there's like 8 different color variations for every alt, which is nuts. That's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I say all that to say that was going to be the reason why I had to play the World Tour mode, and then I didn't do that. So I'll still play it just because I'm interested in, like, because from what I hear is like it does a good job at like onboarding people, and like I don't think I'm at the phase where they need to entirely onboard me, but I definitely could benefit from them like onboarding me to a degree.
So I mean, and it could be one of those things where like, I mean, in Tears of the Kingdom, for example, or plenty of other games, you could like learn most of the things organically, and then there's some tutorial that you get to way far away, and it's like, oh, it would have been great to know that little thing earlier on, and just totally missed it somehow, and like made do without it. So yeah, those kinds of things can be nice for making sure that you have all of the basics. To like
I don't know.
Branch off.
And
of
did I talk about the? I'm going to do a video about this. Probably at some point. I don't know if it's going to be as imminent as I was initially planning, because I think I want to like get good first. Like I want to probably get in like gold at least before I make this video in the ranked mode or whatever. But the modern control scheme, it's literally Smash Brothers, and like even more than I thought. Like I thought it was just generally Smash Brothers in the sense that like the button layout and like the rationale is similar, but like it's literally Smash Brothers if you're playing as a Street Fighter character. Like you can still do button inputs with modern controls. The only difference, which I think is like a deterrent if you're used to classic controls, is you have less attack buttons. So like where in classic mode you have a dedicated button for light punch and light kick and medium punch and medium kick and like you don't have dedicated buttons for that. You have a dedicated heavy button, a dedicated light button, and a dedicated medium button. And then there's like ways that you can access some of those moves by doing the auto combo button. Like I think one of Kimberly's auto combo buttons by default gives her like medium kick or something like that, and that's like a good poking tool. So like I'll use that a decent amount. But you can't just whenever you want pull out whatever point. Like some moves they just don't have access to in modern control mode. And also your I think it might just be for specials, but there is a possibility, because I don't know, they're weird on the verbiage, or at least the people that I've heard talked about it are weird on the verbiage. There's a 20% damage reduction, so you do less damage per hit. But I think that might just be for the specials, but again, unclear. And that's just because like you could literally spam the specials. Like some of these specials take crazy button inputs and you could just press one button. So like I think that's a fair trade-off. Like I can like, as far as like action per minute, I can do more specials than you. So in theory, I could do just as much, if not more damage, just by nature of the fact that I'm not working as hard to get the button. So I think that that's a smart trade-off. But we'll see. We'll see if because I think that their goal, and especially since now that I know you can do the button inputs, is for like modern controls to be training wheels. It's like training wheels, like you can still ride the bike, but it's not going to be as good, you know? But it's a way to learn how to ride the bike normally. But we'll see. We'll see if I feel like hampered by the time I feel like I'm like good at the game. Like if I get to gold and then like I feel like I can't get to platinum because I'm using modern controls, that sort of situation.
Sure, yeah, that'll be interesting.
But that's what
nice. Well, that's fun. Yeah, I think I haven't been playing anything else. I don't think. Yeah. So with that, we'll get into the last segment, Q&A. All right. First up, Pat Green asked, "What if the new 1-2 Switch game is actually good, as in they made it better? It's at least priced to sell compared to the first title, which admittedly sold well, but that was more of a there's nothing else to buy right now at launch situation, I think." Both also have that casual appeal, of course.
Video for you specifically. Angry face. Was that the rest of the question?
That was the rest of the question. Yep.
Okay. Yes. I do think that this game can be better, and I also think that 1-2 Switch is fine, and was even priced fine. But I get into that in the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think especially now that it's $30, it does have the brand recognition, be it good or bad. That either could work in its favor, honestly. If the game is fun, and it being $30 can do a lot for it. And I think it has like online play or something like that, and also the whole like phone game thing, and like even if it's not like intentional, the association with Jackbox games I think could work in its favor too.
So. I mean, I think from what it sounds like, it is intentional. So if it does that well, then I mean, I think honestly, if it's a good game and gets good word of mouth, like it could be that it kind of leans into the Mario Party kind of world of things, it being a first party Nintendo thing and all that. I mean, I guess the question is like, to what degree does a grandma know that it's a first party Nintendo thing? She doesn't. But yeah, I mean, some do. There's gamer grandmas and stuff. But like, you know, just like in the same way that somebody be like, this is a game with Mario on it, I'll get that for my
I think brother. It doesn't really matter if the grandma knows that it's a first party Nintendo thing, because it will have that effect anyway. Like they'll have the budget of a first party Nintendo game. So like even if people feel like 1-2 Switch even is like shovelware, a lot of the reason why 1-2 Switch was able to sell as much as it did is like it had a positive word of mouth. Like the people that played the game liked the game. There was just a whole thing of like, I like the game a lot, but I wish it was Wii Sports and free.
Right.
You know, that was actually the death knell. It wasn't that the game wasn't good. But with this game, or like either one of those games, grandmas are going to buy the game because it's going to be front and center on game store like kiosks and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be the first thing that they see when they walk into the store. it looks fun enough. The clerk, assuming that the game is good, would be like, yeah, the game's pretty good.
You know? I mean, and that is the big thing, because it being front and center and stuff like that will probably only happen if the game actually is good, because it, based on the announcement of it, it feels like Nintendo's kind of like sweeping it under the rug a little bit. And maybe that's not the case. And just what they're doing is just weird.
Yeah, I was about to say, at the same time, I don't know if I buy that either.
Yeah.
Because like if they wanted to sweep it under the rug, this is something they could have just dropped. But they didn't do that.
Yeah.
It's not available currently. And it's not like they've shown any like restraint in just axing a game. So I feel like it is at bare minimum, especially in this era, right? Like if it was during Wii U, where it's like, man, we are hemorrhaging money.
Yeah,
we can't just axe any. We gotta release Animal Crossing freaking Animal Festival Amiibo Festival. Yeah, they're not in that situation anymore. I think if they didn't believe in the game at all, they just wouldn't release it.
Yep.
So, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm curious to get an actual trailer for it, and I do hope it turns out well, because I think I at least have a slot in my life for this kind of thing, and I think a lot of us do, honestly, just like times when you're with your family and stuff, and or friends or something.
And if it is in the Jackbox realm kind of thing, I think it could be a phenomenal stream game, which could
for sure
also mean that it can be very successful.
But
we'll see.
This is true. There you go. Let asks, what's your favorite Zelda race? What about your least favorite? Probably the one with that guy where you have to get to the top of the cliff before. I'm just kidding. It's a race, like a running race. Oh my goodness. What a goof. Favorite Zelda race. I don't.
Probably Rito and Gerudo. They're tied. But also, Rito's probably a little bit above Gerudo, because Gerudo can be annoying mechanically. It's annoying getting into their town.
Yeah.
But
I guess is it that, I mean, I haven't done it yet this time, but I think I'd probably generally say,
I don't even mean in Tears of the Kingdom specifically.
I'd agree with Rito probably. I think second place for me would be Goron probably. I mean, I guess also I haven't played Minish Cap more than like 15 minutes, but I like the idea of the Picori. Like that's a fun little thing. But that's not in this game. So, whatever. And like Koroks and stuff like that. That's always fun. But I think Rito, same too.
Least favorite Hylians, they're boring.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like I mean, the Zora can be kind of obnoxious sometimes. I feel like there are obnoxious Rito, like Rivali, and there's obnoxious Gerudo and stuff like that. But like, it feels like more of a culture thing within the Zora that they're kind of stuck up and whatever, more ratio wise. But I'd still say,
and I prefer that to being boring. At least I can remember the Zora. Like, they're not my favorite, but they're not boring. So. That's the answer for me.
Yeah, same. RP asks, how frequently do you use Zonai devices in Tears of the Kingdom? I forget about them a lot, honestly.
Like, it depends what you mean by that. Because I use
ones that are in the world.
I use the like Zonai devices in the capsules constantly. But I more so mean like I use them stuff. Even more if you're including like fusing them to weapons and shields and stuff like that. Because like universally, if I get a Zonai sword or whatever, I fuse them with a Zonai device if I have one, because they're stronger that way. But even beyond that, there's just some Zonai devices that are really good on weapons and or shields. Like if I find a freaking flame emitter, I'm putting that on a shield or a sword or a stick or whatever. Because I want to nuke. I don't think I've ever like fully fought an elemental Lizalfos in this game. In my like 90 hours of playing this video game, I have just immediately
used the opposite.
Yes, just destroyed it. And that's part of the reason why, because I always have like a flame emitter club or whatever. They're very useful. But as far as like the capsules or whatever, like I use them a lot because they're just they gel with my way of playing the video game, where I'm like, you want me to do this way, and I refuse. I'm going to do it this other way.
Interesting? What's the way that it feels like it wants you to do it, and that the Zonai devices are circumventing?
Depends on the situation. But sometimes it's literally whatever Zonai device they give me. Like if they're like, do this with this platform and 2 rockets, and I'm like,
gotcha, yeah.
Nah, I'd rather do it with the floating platform thing, and I'm freaking ascend through that, and then I'm gonna attach a rocket to my shield, and I'm gonna heat up, and that sort of thing. It's like doing more with what I have than what they're trying to give me to like kind of funnel me into like it being quote unquote challenging. That sort of thing.
Interesting. Yeah. I forget that I have on it. That's okay. I do know what that is. I forget that I have the Zonai devices in here until I need like a pot or whatever.
I also never use the pots. They made me angry. Like when I found out that they're one and done, I was like, I'm never using another pot.
The only times that I've like, there's been, up at Death Mountain or whatever, I don't have the gear, the flame resistant gear yet, and I was like about to come into a spot where I'm going to catch on fire, and I don't really want to catch on fire, and I was like, I got the stuff, I don't want to go find a pot. I just need to make one, so then that was fine. So anytime I like just need that one thing, then I'm fine to use it, because like I can just make it right then anyway. But I definitely do suffer from, and I'm starting to get better at it through this game, but from the like hoarding items of various sorts. And I think I've been doing that with Zonai devices, less for hoarding reasons, more for just like simplicity, just not bothering kind of a thing.
Do you use like the like Zonai devices for the like the pachinko machine things?
Oh, yeah. I've used them. I'll like go to the pachinko machine that I haven't been to yet. I'll put 5 small ones in there, and then be like, yes. And now I've filled out the list of the kinds of things that are at this pachinko machine.
Do you know about I haven't used it again. Specifically, like putting.
So sorry, I used the small Zonai charges for it, but I know that I could use bigger ones, and then it would give me a million things.
They give you so much.
So because I can't remember. Do we use? The only other use for Zonai charges is to like charge you up to have extra,
like if you're running out of your battery, it's like
I don't use that very often
and stuff. Exactly. So like if I get Zonai charges, I immediately am like I usually have more than I like am willing to use in the moment,
for sure.
Because like I'll be at a pachinko machine that's like a pachinko machine, a freaking gotcha machine.
But gotcha. That's your right.
Yes. I'll be at like the gotcha machine, and I'm like, oh, this has these Zonai devices, and I don't care about having more fans. I have more than enough fans. I don't need fans. I don't need stakes. So I'll get some because I'm here, but I'm not going to get the full 60 because I don't care about these ones.
Yep. So yeah, I'll probably go at some point around to like the ones with rockets, for example. Like I just checked, and I have like 4 rockets, and that's not that many rockets. But I would use them more if I had a bunch more rockets, because they're convenient. You know, so
those, I think the rockets, the fans, and the floating platforms are the most useful.
I haven't even run into the floating platforms yet, so
they're very good.
We'll see.
They're very good. They're like, you hit them and then you can like move them up in the air, and then they'll just stay wherever you put them. That's so they're cool. Like, it's just like it's a free ascend point.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, to answer your question, RP, AJ uses them a lot. I use them, and not very much. But I think I probably will use them more. And especially since I, have an ability now that can use them a little bit more effectively, then that's nice. Moving along. Rise Frog asked, if you could choose one thing to make a copy ability that isn't already in Kirby, what would it be?
I
don't know that Kirby copy abilities are like forward enough in my brain to quickly
think
recall
of what's not there.
Exactly,
that's not even my problem. My problem is I don't know what ability that he doesn't have that I specifically want.
Also that.
I don't think I've ever played a Kirby game and like, man, I wish he could do X. I think the more interesting thing is to like for them to give me a copy ability that I never would have asked for.
Yeah. I mean, for example, like the time bomb one, like that's a thing where I'm like, I never would have thought of doing a time bomb copy ability, but it's cool.
I would have never even thought to do like the spider copy ability. Would have never thought to do that specifically, but I like it. So I don't know, a surprise one that I never would have thought. That's what I want.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like Pokemon types and go through that because like
most of them are accounted for.
Like the digging one, ground, and like the water, and there's ice, and there's blah 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 blah.
And fire and electric.
The one that came to mind is fairy. What could we do with fairy? Like
there's like a
phasing through things.
Kinda,
I feel like you could do something. Yeah, that's true.
That also
but like
might be a thing.
or maybe like it's ghost
like
type.
Ghost Kirby. I think that might be.
Where you could like phase through things, or
that would make Kirby insufferable in terms of how boring it is. Imagine just being able to infinitely float through everything.
Yes. Maybe it's like phase through specific things, or like phase through. Instead of capturing enemies, you possess like them. Possess enemies, exactly. Yeah, and then do this out of the other with them.
You do
in
like
their
the
form
freaking
like
what is it called? I forgot what it's called already. The freaking mushroom or something. It's some sort of freaking plant or something in Breath of the Wild, where Tears of the Kingdom, where you can make
muddle. Yeah, muddle bud.
Yeah, them things. I have that as an ability and freaking possess them and then jump out of their body and like, for some reason I have a thought in my head that I need to kill you. So yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Cool. Last question, M. Skeleton. Who is your least favorite Pokemon, and could you beat them in a fight?
Jinx. Probably shouldn't, but the curse.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, there's a bunch of Pokemon that I still have missed, have gone past me, and I don't even know. So I don't know. Of the ones that I know, I mean, yeah, obviously Jinx for just like classic reasons. I mean, I'm just gonna say no for basically any Pokemon. Can I beat them? Because like they've all got abilities. I've got hands, and like that's
but some of them are dumb.
Some of them are dumb, but I don't know
like
that
if your
they would
least
end
favorite
up being
Pokemon
like
was Slakoth, you could beat Slakoth.
Yeah, but I would venture to say that my least favorite Pokemon wouldn't be a very plain one. It would be like an obnoxious this, that, or the other one. You know, it's like one of the Ultra Beasts. They're just like dumb or something like that. There's sure. No way that I could be, you know. But even like less than that, if it was, you know, I feel like just the Pidgeys of the world and the Caterpies of the world are so inoffensive in their simplicity that they can't. They wouldn't end up being my least favorite. But so I can't think of what my least favorite would be, but I'm pretty sure that whoever it is, I would not be able to beat them in a fight.
I mean, outside of Jinx, my least favorite is definitely something Gen 4, because they're all like over-designed kaijus, and that also means that I definitely cannot beat it in a fight.
Yep. And there it is. That's the end of the podcast. This is week 2 in a row of going over 2 hours. So what a time.
It's
been a while, but
just barely over 2 hours.
It just barely. It's 2 hours and 3 minutes so far.
Yeah.
So.
Do all the stuff.
Here we are.
Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about the podcast. Check out our Patreon, follow us on Twitter and all the other social media stuff. And if you for some reason didn't subscribe to our main channel, do that too. Goodbye.
Bye.